Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to talk about the legitimation for coexistence, the third part. Let's do a quick recap what we thought about in the last part. We had brainstorming first, then we came to the conclusion that the best option in order to achieve a legitimation for coexistence is that we have a consensus that everyone lives. After that, we abstracted that the world is an arena and everyone has to fight in the arena, and they fight till death or surrender. And this leads, after different group stages, to a pyramid structure with one person on top in the final group. And we made the assumption that a good guy or girl has to be on top, and we said, because we only focused on surviving and survival, that the good guy always has to accept surrender because he cares about survival. So he has to be the top guy. Yeah, is good. Otherwise, the arena won't stop. So, and then we had strategies. What can you do as a fighter if you're somewhere in this pyramid? You could try to become the top guy, which you have very low odds. You can find a faction which you want to surrender to, or you could surrender to anyone who accepts surrender because he's a good guy and the good guy will accept the surrender of another good guy. So you're automatically in the winner faction. And this time we want to think a little further. We again have our pyramid. And we want to think what happens if we reach the spot in which we have this one guy on top. This one guy on top. And the pyramid is stable. Or rather, he tries to stabilize the pyramid. So, because that entails that he's a good guy. And until now, we said only survival matters, but that's not true. We know that the fact of how people survive also matters. Because in the French Revolution, when people had very little to eat, um, they were still surviving, but they went on the street and they thrown the pyramid down. They made a revolution, and every revolution is discontent from lower to the top. Another shaking of the pyramid, if you so will. So, what do you do in order to stay on top, is the question. And this is where the fun part comes in, because if you're on top, you eventually have to surrender to an idea. Because on top, you're the only way you can guarantee that you are still on top and nobody comes after you, because you have all the responsibilities for everyone below you, is if you create paradise for all. How do you create paradise for all? No one knows. But we know the way there. Because nobody will revolt against you as long as you say, as you can, um, as everyone believes you that you create paradise for all, right? As long as you're on the way there, nobody will hinder your progress. So, um, how do you create paradise for all? How do you make make the public know that you're on the right way? That is what we want to think about. And that is the fact that you have to surrender to a moral system. So the top person has to surrender, if you so will. You can also say adopt a moral system. A system through which you are predictable. A moral system is nothing else than a system in which you are predictable of what you are going to do and how your paradise looks like. So, mm, now is the question, how do you create a moral system? What is a moral system? Mm, what is morality? And my conclusion is a moral system is something that is also structured like a pyramid. Let's make a red pyramid for the moral system. You have your core tenant, your core idea. Let's say it God word, because it's only a word. It's only short, right? It's the absolute core of what your moral represent. You have this on top, and then you have logical deduction all the way to the bottom. So these are logical deductions. And all this together all this together we would call a moral system. This is sort of your supreme directive. So, and now the question, which is the best one? Because obviously you have to have the best one, the most adapted for the time we live in. And this is where I like to present what I have found now to be the best core idea or God word, the best supreme directive. And that I would say is um, to resonate. What means to resonate? To rhythmically align. Rhythmically align. This is, in my idea, the most supreme God word. So my God is resonation. My moral system, my core idea. And let's make a few logical conclusions. What does this mean? So in order to resonate, you have to have at least two people or two objects, and they have to be in relationship to each other, in some kind of relationship, because how would they align otherwise? And if you sacrifice one of the two, you can't anymore rhythmically align. So logical deduction is that if you have resonation as God word or core idea, then no sacrifices. Because sacrifices are bad, because they remove your function to rhythmically align. So no self-sacrifices, no other sacrifices, because it's bad no matter who sacrifices. No sacrificing others. That's a logical deduction. One of the most important ones, I would say, in this kind of um, with this God word, core tenant, core idea. Then what is another very important logical deduction from to resonate? And that is, you can only resonate with something if you recognize its pattern, right? If you don't know the pattern of the object of the person, then you can't align to it. So, um, first of all, in order to resonate with it, you can't force it. No forcing others. Because you would put pressure on their rhythm and thereby destroying it. Teaching is okay, or if they want to align themselves, that's okay. But if they are forced, then that's no longer okay. And the second thing, which you can deduct, is that no um, no lies, no being smarted, outsmarting others, and abusing them by I'm missing the correct word here. No tricking, no tricking others. Because if you trick someone, you are concealing your own innate frequency, your own uh, rhythm, and that makes it impossible for the others to align. So any white lie is also bad. For example, if you say to your children, believe in Santa, Santa is coming, that's bad. I know this is pretty extreme, but it's a white lie, and the lie is bad, therefore that's bad. That would be, for example, a moral system with only the two most important logical arguments under it. And I think this is the best moral system you could have. And if you have a better moral system, if you have a better God word, if you have a better supreme directive, feel free to write so in the comments and let me know. Because maybe you're right, maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Thank you for your time. And this was a short video. Maybe we should talk a little bit about the Christian faith and why I believe the Christian faith is inferior to resonation, at least at its current stage. So, save this as Endgame. This is purely the Endgame now. What happens if this pyramid is formed, right? Okay. The Christian faith, or morals according to the Christian faith. Morals according to the Christian faith. So in order to find out how the Christian faith works, we have to find out what they put on top of their pyramid. What is their supreme directive? What is their God word? What is their highest parameter, if you so will? And in my opinion, the Christian faith has as God word as um, highest how do you say it? Function, love, unconditional love. And everything else in the Christian morals is nothing else but a logical translation of love. For example, when Jesus says you should, if you get hit, you should present your other cheek, that's a function of love. And why is this bad? Why is this inferior to resonation? the answer is because of the times we live in. Mm, because what happens if you come across a psycho who wants to hit you, and he wants to hit you again and again and again, and he doesn't want to stop? With the God word love, with the supreme directive love, you get beaten, you get punched into a pulp, and it has nothing to do with our reality. How many of you would consider yourself Christian? Like, let's make a kind of extreme example, but if you have a son or a daughter or a lover or somebody who you hold very dear, and they get attacked, they get stabbed, gutted, destroyed, and the attacker has wounds um, from this altercation. The one you care for would die, and the one who attacked them, who'd done the damage, is wounded. Um, Now, would you bandage them? What would you do? Would you go to the police? Would you call law enforcement? And the answer is you can't. With love, you can't. With the God word love, you can't do that. With the God word love, you are limited to providing bandage for them and caring for them, right? That has nothing to do with our reality. Every army out there cannot be a Christian army because by your supreme directive love, you're already making it impossible to strike back. That's why at the current stage in our society, I don't believe that this morals and ethic built on Christian faith is better than if you use resonate. Because rhythmical alignment, if you get hit, you hit back. You hit slightly less back because you still want to align, but you still hit back. If somebody attacks you, you attack them back, right? That makes way more sense to me than this. And if you state this strong, maybe a fun fact, I still believe that this year is better than this year. So the Christian faith overall, at some point, so I call this, it's my faith. Mm, when everyone understood, right? When everyone understood the idea that you should resonate, then everyone gets it. That you only should hit back if you're getting attacked. Then this year is superior because this year provides the stronger connection. Because resonation is only rhythmical alignment, while love is fusion. At least so I would see that. And you can't fuse with something that doesn't want to fuse. That's why you have to first get into alignment. So funny thing is, once you sort of have completed this pyramid and everyone is aligned, then this year is obviously better, then the Christian faith is better. But we're not living in a time where we have this rhythmical alignment. Therefore, this is the superior morals at our time. Yes, that's that's all that I want to say. Thank you for your time, and if you think differently, um, write it in the comment section. But please try to give a foundation for what you want to say, preferably logical, because I'm interested in the topic, and I'm always open to widen my horizon. Thank you for your time.